back to it. I'm sorry for being a bit all over the place, but due to my circumstance, my mind doesn't function at its best. So what are the conditions for a da'i to be able to help you untangle a situation where you are stuck and where certain concessions will have to be made? So as mentioned previously, number one, the da'i has to have correct knowledge from the book and the sunnah about halal and haram. Number two, he needs to have a good grasp, comprehension and ability to work with the tools of ijtihad, like certain titles that I have mentioned of the things that you will find in the books of usul al-fiqh. What is a major harm, a minor harm? What is a necessity, what's not a necessity? What is something worth making a concession and what is not something worth making a concession? Right? You buying a car versus going on public transport, is that something worth making a concession in the Sharia? Why would it? Unlike, for example, you being in a life and death situation and needing a certain type of surgery that obviously includes ikhtilat, women touching you because of giving you injections, etc. I hope that makes the point clear. And number three, and this is where it's gonna get more complicated, and you will find this in the books of usul al-fiqh, in the last chapters of the books of usul al-fiqh, where it explains what is the situation of the mufti and the mustafti, the one giving the fatwa and the one who is asking the fatwa. So what I would like to say about that is that the mufti, the one giving the fatwa, must have a proper comprehension of the situation of the person he is giving the fatwa to. And these fatawi are very often not to be copy-pasted onto other people. Why? Because there are intricate details in the question or in the situation that will change, and as such make the same fatwa on something which is on the whole the same situation, but due to certain elements being different, it makes the fatwa non-applicable. It has to be reconsidered. So the mufti needs to have a proper understanding of the situation of the person the fatwa being given to. So in many cases, unfortunately, this will necessitate the mufti understanding the state of mind, the culture and the ability of the person who is giving the fatwa to. If you are giving instructions to somebody who is educated and rather soft and delicate, it will not be the same as you giving the fatwa, the instruction to somebody who's uneducated but probably a bit more hardened and more patient and more willing to pick up a fight in life. Not like a physical fight, although maybe also physical fight, but just like, you know, fight for your piece of bread. You see, those are all things that a mufti must have the skill to detect who he is talking to and deal with him. Furthermore, he needs to understand the terrain in which the person he's advising is going to evolve in. The mufti must be able to see ahead what will be the consequence of this fatwa. If you have, for example, a person who has grown up in a conservative household, in a conservative environment, somebody who is unlikely to have committed zina in his life before, somebody who is very unlikely to have ever touched alcohol, somebody who is unlikely to have ever touched any other type of narcotics. This person, if you were to put him in an environment where all these things all of a sudden become available, will not be the same as a person who has indulged in it for a good part of his life and has recently come to Islam and, you know, is still heavily struggling to keep away from this. There is a difference. Or from another aspect, you will have somebody who has indulged in it, but he came over it. He is now, he rebuilt himself up from the ashes of kufr into a person of iman who is firm now. He will be less at risk of somebody who grew up maybe in a conservative environment, but his only conservative traits are due to his environment and not due to some education. He doesn't really understand why he is conservative, and he's just conservative by default, not by making. He hasn't built up his iman. He hasn't built up the internal power to fight off shahawat. All these matters need to be understood and detected by a mufti when he gives fatawi to a specific individual who is in a complex situation. So as such, the big question arises: can a scholar from a Muslim country, be it Arab country, Asian country, African country, Indonesia, whatever, can he give a fatwa to somebody in the West? The question is, it depends. Does this particular mufti from the Muslim country, number one, how well and clear has the question been framed? Number two, is he somebody who can see beyond the textbook cases and gather it all together, have enough what's perspicacité in English? Have enough clear vision in these kind of matters to really see where he's going with this matter? Has he himself traveled in these countries and has analyzed the ground, looked at the ground, etc.? If that is the case, yes, he can. Yes, he can. If this is not the case, like you have somebody who grew up, for example, in Yemen, in a markaz like Dammaj, for example, where he has lived in a bubble. Yes, Dammaj was a bubble that was largely disconnected from the reality of the world. Is one of the main traits of Yemen in general, and Dammaj in particular, that they look at things in strong black and white contrast. They don't perceive many shades of grey within things or in things that are from outside of their bubble that they're evolving. And this is a real problem. These kind of people should not be exposed to giving fatawi to complex situation of people in the West. I am saying complex situation, not textbook cases. How many rak'ah is dhuhr? What to do when you forgot a rak'ah? What to do when you have these kind of health issues that give you problem in wudu? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about complex situation. I am a new Muslim. I live with a kafir family. This is the situation in my home. This is how my parents are treating me. This is the job that I'm at right now. Should I do this? It's going to be that consequence. Should I do that? It's going to be that consequence. I'm threatened with this. I have this problem arising. This kind of stuff. Get real, guys. The mustafti does not fulfill the condition to talk about these kind of matters. I think that's it for this topic. hope that brought some type of clarity. But you can never stress enough. Guidance is from Allah, people. Guidance is strictly from Allah. A da'i who is knowledgeable, sincere and muwaffaq can show you the way. And a da'i who is malicious, ignorant, can show you the wrong way. And only Allah can put guidance in your heart to have enough willpower to look at the haqq and wanting to follow it, and to have enough firmness to go all the way. Wallahu a'lam. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.